Question number 2, guys. I'm getting this done in a hot van. My little like mobile teaching rig. So this one was a question about vibrato and bend, which I'm guessing they kind of mean together. You know, which is something I love. You know. Right, it definitely it adds so much flavor. It has such an intensity to it. I love it. Big Stevie Ray Vaughan move. Huge Stevie Ray Vaughan move. So let's go through a little bit of the vibrato and a little bit of the bending, just to start with, and then we can kind of like literally. I mean, I know that kind of sounds silly to say it's literally combining the two, but it is. It gets, once you get either one of those down, it'll become a little bit easier. So let's do first the vibrato. There's a few different ways. Now, I know that I'm often teaching this sort of hand position, you know, not grabbing the neck. Doing the vibrato, especially if you do a sort of like, right, it's got like that B.B. King feel, kind of like locks in right here, you know, and almost like turns his hand, right? And you're literally just bending the string and then bringing it back, bending the string and bringing it back. Now it's very visual along with the sound. So what I mean by that is you do always want to bring it back to the actual note. So if you're doing this, if you start going, it starts going up a little too high, or if you're not consistently coming back down to that note, it's going to change the pitch. You're not really changing the median pitch of the note. You know, you're just kind of like embellishing it a little bit with sort of like these quarter and eighth tones. You know, even might even be smaller than that. But so you do want to make sure you're always coming back to that. You know, so when you let it down, you know, that sort of spring back to normal position, you do want to like relax your fingers enough to let that string bring you back down. If you are forcing it back, you'll probably overshoot it. So just something to practice, whether you get used to it. I mean, there's no real technique other than that. I mean, that's not really the technique. That's more of like the theoretical reason for doing vibrato. There is no major technique. I mean, I love Clapton's where he does it like, and he's not even touching the neck at all. He kind of does that. So experiment with how it is comfortable for you to bend the string and release it, bring it back to normal, bend it and bring it back to normal, and then get it. And you do want to make sure the bend is as consistent. So where it is, the note that it's starting from, and the bend, you want to make sure that those are super consistent. Now, when we talk about bending, something that I want to make really, really important is bending isn't just, right, these kind of like, there's a reason for bending, okay? Just like there's a reason for sliding. If I do this, that slide, and then hammer on is because I'm playing two notes. That's the same with the bend. In this instance. So what I want you guys to do is make sure if you're bending, that you're bending to the next note that you actually want to get to. So one of my favorite exercises, that's why if you do like that, it's that note. So I usually do like on the 10th fret, I play the 10th fret, then the 12th fret, and then see if you can hear when it's on that note. And then it starts turning into, there you go, all right. And then do it with half steps. You know, and make sure you can hear that interval of where you want that note to go. Now, that there are other bends, that doesn't really have a destination. That's kind of like this sort of takeoff inflection bend that gives like a little bit of attitude. Right? Those are also fine. But if you don't have a destination, don't release it. Right? And then it kind of sounds like you just hit the wrong note. Right? So make sure if you are going to do those bends, doing like a little cutoff is like a really great way. It kind of like, it just drills those notes in. Anyway, so that's the vibrato and some of the bending techniques. Now, to put it together, if you are doing a bend and you get like that, all you're doing is make sure when you get the bend that your fingers are doing the push up, and all you're really doing is like releasing and then back to that note, releasing a little bit and back to that note. So it's a lot more of the push, and then you can ease on the back down. Push, ease, push, ease. And that's how you can combine the two. Now what I do is I kind of push the bend up, and then I'm just going back and forth a little bit like that to get that, and trying to be as consistent as possible to the higher note and the lower note. You know what I mean? And it does get a little bit more difficult when you are doing a bend vibrato. So I hope that lesson was cool. It's one of my favorite things to do, especially like, it has so much attitude to it. Cool. I hope that helped, guys, and I'll answer the next one.